You've probably seen a tabloid headlines claiming Justin Bieber caught momentarily transforming into reptilian form, or shapeshifting Secret Service agent proof of Illuminati reptilian bloodlines. While these may seem like fringe conspiracies, a poll taken during the 2016 election showed that 4%, or roughly 12 million Americans, believe in these famous reptilians. But if you really want to know more about the reptilian conspiracy theory, one need only ask David Icke, famous reptilians. Much of the theory's popularity comes from Icke's interpretations of Gnostic texts, such as the Nag Hammadi, as well as biblical apocrypha like the Dead Sea Scrolls. He says he believes these texts contain evidence that certain higher vibrational beings of frequency, known as archons, appear on Earth as humans, masking their true reptilian form. These archontic forces are undoubtedly evil, intent on enslaving humanity for their own selfish reasons. Icke says these forces are like a computer virus that manifested itself in elite bloodlines throughout mankind's history, also known to use their most infamous arm of clandestine influence, the Illuminati. These famous reptilian shapeshifters form a psychopathic ruling class that pulls the strings in all of the world's financial and political power structures. And it's not hard to sympathize with Icke's belief. The decisions made by politicians, bankers, and the global elite are often selfish, detrimental to the environment, and subversive to the betterment of society at large. 3 signs of psychopathy, but are they really reptilian? Of course, we all have a reptilian brain, that part of us responsible for behaviors such as aggression, dominance, and territoriality, which was a nickname given to the basal ganglia by neuroscientist Paul MacLean when he wanted to compare our instinctual actions to those of reptiles. But it seems like the reptilians Icke describes are a little more conniving than MacLean's concept. It seems they are capable of more cerebral thought, Illuminati bloodlines. There are 2 types of these famous reptilians, hybrids and full-bloods. The hybrids are an alleged crossbreed between humans and full-blooded reptilians, who are too few in number to take over the planet, hence the reason they cloak their identity while manipulating world leaders and financiers behind the scene. There is also a hierarchy, according to Icke, of which the full-bloods or Dracos sit atop, maintaining control of the hybrids who are unaware they are even reptilian. The world's most influential political figures are of the hybrid ilk, including modern presidents, prime ministers, and bankers. Others believe hybrids exist as reptilian celebrities, but Icke typically sticks to institutions and political entities, especially those with nefarious histories like the CIA, Bilderberg Group, and the Trilateral Commission. In one of his most renowned titles, The Biggest Secret, Icke meticulously charts the bloodlines of a family called the Merovingians, a central connection of French nobility that links ancient Egyptian pharaohs and Roman emperors to the British royal family, US presidents, and nearly every other influential political figure of the last few centuries. To even begin to delineate this tree would require extensive detail, so for an explanation from the man himself.
Do you still think the royal family were shape-shifting lizards?
Yes, I do.
You do?
Yes.
And you also want us to believe 9/11 is a conspiracy?
Yes, but the
Doesn't
point
that rather undermine? I mean,
well, no,
I can see the point that you might have some question 9/11, but if you also think that Buckingham Palace is inhabited by lizards, it kind of undermines.
But it's not that. It's not that simple. There's a whole big backstory before you get to what I'm saying. If you deliver it in one line, oh, you know, the world's run by reptiles, you meet it on one level. Oh, that's crazy. Immediate reflex action. But when you see the backstory and the evidence to support this, ancient and modern, you see that one line, throwaway line, in a completely different context.
All right, let me bring in that. Have you ever believed in a conspiracy theory, Liz?
No, I haven't, but I think David Aronovich is really interesting on this because he says that sort of paradoxically we keep obsessing about conspiracies because somehow it's actually reassuring to think that there's some great
some
network
purpose.
or some purpose, when in fact the world is chaotic and random and terrible things happen.
And
We
Iraq
can't-
was just a
we can't
horrible
get
foreign
our
policy
heads-
mistake.
and we can't get our heads around it.
You see, as a journalist, I would love to believe in conspiracy theorists because they're much better stories. But almost everything I've ever investigated, it turns out cock-up is a better explanation than conspiracy.
Yes, I know people put a lot of work into conspiracy theories, but I still think they're actually intellectually lazy. I think, you know, people just don't want to get their head around the way things really work. That having been said, I mean, let me say firstly that, you know, a lot of people are gullible about conspiracies. I mean, I think the police were extremely gullible about the Downing Street paedophile ring, as it turns out. And on the other hand, I'll just end my comment with this point, there clearly was a conspiracy over Hillsborough. And over 28 years or whatever it was, people denied there was a conspiracy, but there was.
My last book, before the present one, is 1,000 pages. Have you read any of my books?
No, I haven't.
How do you know that it's intellectually lazy?
I wasn't talking about you, actually,
No,
David.
no, you were
that-
talking about me, because that's what I do. How do you know?
No, I
that-
meant members of the public who immediately latch onto a conspiracy as being the most reasonable explanation of a perfectly simple situation, I think are intellectually lazy.
How
That
do
was
we
my
know
point.
you're not a conspiracy to make us all believe in conspiracies?
People must believe what they like. See, this is the simple thing. It's ever so simple. You look at information and you make a decision on what you think of it. But if no one is investigating what governments and authorities are saying with a view to whether it's true or not, then what chance have people got to see information that they can then make a decision on? All they're getting is the mainstream repeat version of everything.
Well, I mean, in my career, everything I know has been investigated, and we go by the facts. Just very briefly, what are you up to these days?
Just got a new book out called Phantom Self, and I'm going on a world tour all over the world, and that shows how many people are looking at this.
As in, before you go on that world tour.
Reptilian references in ancient cultures. Ike says there is mention in the Nag Hammadi of not just reptilians, but also the Greys, commonly reported as one of the less than friendly alien species humans encounter. These, too, are manifestations of the negative archonic form, he says. Ike also points to the Old Testament, in which the Nephilim, aka the Fallen Ones, fit into this theory of a descendant race infiltrating humanity. Some translations interpret the Nephilim as giants, or others as fallen angels, but in both cases they interbred with humans. Ike says these are the Reptilians, and depictions of them can be seen throughout disparate religions and cultures in antiquity, worshipped as gods or demigods like the Nephilim. In ancient Sumer, there is a literal statue of a reptilian goddess cradling its offspring. Ancient Egypt has Apep, the serpent deity that embodied chaos and opposed light. In Mesoamerican culture, there was Quetzalcoatl, or Kukulkan, the flying feathered reptile god who created the cosmos. And Indian religions, including Hinduism, Buddhism, and Jainism, speak of the Naga, a human-snake hybrid demigod that are potentially dangerous to humans. Or are they the half-blooded reptilians Ike warns us of today? Whether you subscribe to Ike's rather fantastical theory, his sentiment and the foundation of his histrionics stem from a genuine concern for the humanity and the oppression he sees from an elite class, the 1%. This anxiety is shared by a lot of people in the world, particularly in this day and age. And for that, it's difficult to completely dismiss Ike's ideas, reptilian aliens or otherwise. If you guys enjoyed this video and want to see more like it, please consider subscribing to us and hitting the like button. Feel free to leave a comment below and suggest which theory you would like to see next. If you would like to further support this channel, please consider heading to our Patreon found in the description box below and subscribing there. We appreciate your support, and as always, thanks for watching.